Hello, and welcome to the Whiskey and Smoke News Network, your weekly whiskey, cigar, pipe, and pipe tobacco program where we cover the news, new releases, and upcoming events, and we throw in an interview for good measure. We may sometimes be irreverent. We may actually talk about something educational, but we will always try to be entertaining. This program is designed with your enjoyment in mind at all times. This is episode 5 for November 5th, 2025. My name is Chris Kumnick, and I'll be your host. Now, let's take a little sneak peek of this week's interview with Jay Roberts, the owner of the Whiskey Lab, whose brand he handles importation and sales include his own brand, Whispering Waters, and indie bottlers such as Fergus Harris, Glass Chew Spirits, Treacarach, and Uncharted Whiskey Company. Let's take a look.
Definitely a mindset, man.
Yeah.
That's something I could talk about for a while because I like the concept of hunger.
Yeah.
It's not physical; it's a mental aspect. It's 100% mental. And when you fast,
there is a physical.
There's a need that kicks
Yes.
it up, but it's all your mind and kind of comfort levels.
Totally.
I fasted for 7 days once. After 3 days, it was like hunger was never the same after that. I knew it's not like I'm hurting myself by not eating.
Yes. All of that with Jay Roberts and more. But first, the news. Glengoyne Distillery, owned by Ian McLeod Distillers, has launched the Glengoyne Wetlands Single Cask Release, a limited edition whiskey aged since 2009 in a refill sherry butt and bottled at 61.1% ABV with vibrant notes of citrus, kiwi, ripe fig, milk chocolate, tangerine, peach, toffee, and subtle spices. All 5,000 pounds in proceeds from the 500 bottle run, priced at 190 pounds each, and available at the distillery, its website, and select WWT sites, will support the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust and its Wetlands Can campaign to create 100,000 hectares of UK wetlands. The release celebrates a 12-year partnership, including Glengoyne's pioneering 2011 wetland wastewater system that cuts waste by 25% while boosting local wildlife, with bottle labels featuring Welsh illustrator Eileen Manon's design of the distillery, surrounding wetlands, and the Valley of Geese. MGP Ingredients reported a 19% sales drop in Q3 of 2025, with distilling revenue plunging 43% amid high industry-wide barrel inventories and paused purchases by major customers. Gross profit fell 25% and net income 35%. Though year-to-date results beat expectations thanks to pricing discipline and aged whiskey sales. CEO Julie Francis highlighted a 19 to 32% decline in U.S. whiskey production per TTB data as a positive sign of market rebalancing, while narrowing full-year distilling solutions guidance to 46% sales and 55% profit drops, improved from prior forecasts. The branded spirits segment dipped 3%, but saw premium sales rise 3% for the third straight quarter, driven by Penelope Bourbon, now a top 30 premium American whiskey brand and the fastest growing over recent periods, alongside El Mayor Tequila and Rebel Bourbon as MGP positions branded growth to lead recovery. Bellina Distillery, former Connacht Distillery, acquired by Terroirs Distillers in 2024, has unveiled its first 2 single malts. Dubelka Doublewood at 49 pounds, 43% ABV, and Triarch Triplewood, 59 pounds, 43% ABV. Launching November 13th after a full rebrand at the historic County Mayo site, the region's first distillery in 150 years. Crafted from 100% Irish malted barley with up to 7-day fermentation and on-site maturation to capture West Ireland terroir, Doublewood is double distilled, blends ex-bourbon 55% and Oloroso sherry 45% casks for honeyed green apple, vanilla fudge, and raisin notes, while triple distilled Triarch adds ruby port 10% alongside bourbon 50% and sherry 40% for stewed plums, poached pears, Christmas spices, and layered fig, date, and nutty richness. General Manager Mike Elliott and Blending Manager Stacy Longworth emphasize the small batch, copper-rich distillation and extended fermentation that deliver a refined, fruit-forward profile distinguishing Ballina in Irish whiskey. In some interesting Scotch labor news, engineers at Edrington's Speyside distilleries, including the Macallan, Glenrothes, and Parkmore, have voted unanimously to strike for 22 days across November, December, and January, starting with a 7-day walkout from November 10th, after management imposed a 5-day work week without agreement, ending a 2-year, 4-day rotation. GMB Scotland says the change forces the 12 workers to labor 40 extra days annually without pay raise, doubles on-call time, cuts allowances of £5,000, and hikes childcare and travel costs, despite rejected union proposals during an 8-month consultation. Edrington insists the shift aligns engineering hours with other teams for operational needs and emergency cover, expressing disappointment while noting significant compromises made since January. We will continue to follow the story and see where it ends up. In other Macallan news, the Macallan's 4th annual A Night on Earth single malt, the First Light, celebrates New Zealand's first sunrise on January 1st, crafted from sherry-seasoned European and American oak casks, with a touch of ex-bourbon American oak to deliver Manuka honey on the nose, berry compote, toasted marshmallow, gentle spice, and mellow oak on the palate. Inspired by Antipodean rituals of renewal, the whiskey is ideal for gifting, sharing in a long serve, or pairing with pavlova, while New Zealand artist Bonnie Brown's vibrant packaging illustrations evoke beach bonfires, Pohutakawa blossoms, and family ocean swims across the sunset, celebration, and dawn vignettes. Available from November at themacallan.com and select retailers, including Berry Brothers and Rudd and the Whiskey Exchange for £99 or about $129. Are you going to stay in Islay anytime soon? Well, if you are, there is a new high-end option for you to stay at. Ardbeg House, the widely anticipated 2025 hotel opening at the iconic 1815 founded Islay Distillery, immerses guests in quirky, whiskey-obsessed luxury across 12 uniquely themed bedrooms, smoke, monster, wee beastie, and more, each hiding mini Ardbeg drams and designed by Russell Sage, with bespoke island-crafted furnishings. Beyond the eccentric hallways, the signature restaurant serves hyper-local fare like hand-dived scallops from a Stillman and Narrabus farm vegetables, while the untamed courtyard smoker echoes Ardbeg's peaty profile. Nightly 6:15 p.m. Badger Hour on the Islay Bar offers unpeated £5 secret Ardbeg Badger Juice batches by master blender Gillian MacDonald alongside vast whiskey selections. The Glenmorangie Company's Ellie Goss calls it a 200-year celebration of Ardbeg, Islay's people, and its cult smoky sweet malts. Book at ardbeg.com/visit us/Ardbeg House. At a recent London masterclass, Leaper's Fork Distillery founder and master distiller Lee Kennedy detailed how his family-owned Tennessee operation, Nashville's first legal distillery in over a century, launched in 2016 after he spearheaded a 2009 law change to end county prohibition, resurrects pre-prohibition whiskey styles through sweet mash, low barrel entry proof, pot still distillation, and adherence to the 1897 Bottle and Bond Act for transparency and integrity. Sourcing non-GMO grains from a 10-mile radius, including 50% home-farmed corn, barley, and rye to craft terroir-driven whiskeys like its Tennessee, bourbon, and rye expressions. The low-impact producer fills just 500 casks yearly, set to double capacity soon, and teased 2026 launches, a Bottle and Bond rye and a UK-exclusive 8-year-old single barrel. Bruichladdich Distillery has launched the Laddie Rye, a 7-year-old 50% ABV limited edition Scotch made exclusively from Islay-grown rye and malting barley from 15 local farms. championing regenerative agriculture by rotating rye to cut chemical fertilizer use by 30%, enrich soil health, and boost subsequent barley yields. Distilled on-site with partner Andrew Jones since 2017, matured in first fill bourbon and toasted virgin American oak casks, it delivers peppery ginger, cracked black pepper, clove, cinnamon, honey, vanilla, and citrus notes. It's available only in the U.S. at select specialists for $60, blending both Providence, community value, and innovative flavor. Scottish independent bottler Chapter 7, founded in 2014 and known for over 50 small batch whiskeys, including its monologue range, has entered liquidation after a decade due to cash flow strains from rising costs at its new in-house Glasgow bottling facility opened in 2022, and a sharp drop in global demand amid a broader whiskey sales slowdown. Joint liquidators Kevin Mapstone and Kenneth Craig of Begbie's Trainer were appointed on the September 2nd of October 2025 to manage the Paisley-based firm's closure, secure remaining stock, and support 2 affected employees, while an unnamed sector specialist has acquired the company's intellectual property and trading brand. Jep the Creed Distillery, the mother-daughter-owned craft operation in Shelbyville, Kentucky, launches its 4th annual Red, White, and Blue Kentucky Straight Bourbon on November 8th, Veterans Day, honoring the 2016 opening with a complex, buttery whiskey boasting red berry, bread pudding, nutmeg, caramel, toasted nuts, toffee, and warm spice notes. Available at the distillery, online, and in 40 states. A portion of proceeds supports Paws of War, which provides service dogs to veterans battling PTSD and rescues animals in war zones, deepening the distillery's veteran-focused mission alongside its barrel-guarding rescue cats. A Veterans Day release event features a color guard, speakers, bottle signings, and more. Details at jepthecreed.com. The suggested retail price is $75 a bottle. Japanese Nika whiskey marks its 40 years of cult classic Nika from the barrel. Japan's iconic 1985 blend of over 100 Yoichi and Miyagi-Kyo malt and grain whiskeys in a signature cubic bottle, with the U.S. debut of limited edition Nika from the barrel Extra Marriage, 51.4% ABV at $70 a bottle, featuring double the usual 3-month marriage in used casks for richer, mellower oak, chocolate, ripe fruit, vanilla, and subtle bitter oak finish. Only 6,900 bottles reach select markets. This month, the original Nika from the barrel also expands nationwide, honoring the visionary blending of Takeshi Takatsuru and master blender Shigeo Sato that earned #1 Whiskey of the Year in Whiskey Advocate's 2018 Top 20. Lost Lantern's Fall 2025 collection, the Scotch Lovers Collection, debuts 7 non-chill filtered American single malts, 5 single casks, and 2 blends, crafted to echo traditional Scotch regions while showcasing U.S. diversity and maturity. Highlights include the whitest ever American vetted malt remix, blending 11 distilleries across 8 states, a reissued 2026 distillery vetted malt, Warfield's Organic Cask Strength Idaho, Triple Eight's first peated Nantucket's malt, a 10-year Maritime aged expression, and an 11-year Sauternes finished cask, plus McCarthy's decade-aged heavily peated Oregon single malt in local oak. These expressions are available nationwide starting November 12th. Whiskey Gypsy Legacy Batch No. 3, The Declaration, marks the 250th anniversary of American independence with a bold Maryland-style rye reinterpretation. 60% 8 to 12-year-old Indiana 95.5 rye, finished in Mount Vernon apple brandy barrels. 30% 20 to 25-year-old Canadian corn whiskey, rebarreled into new American oak for 2.5 years. And 10% 8-year-old Virginia single malt, bottled at a robust 57.87% ABV and priced at $200, This limited release blends heritage grains and innovative finishing for a modern tribute. Available now at select retailers and online. Jack Daniel's 2025 release, Single Barrel Tanyard Hill Rye, is a barrel-proof Tennessee rye whiskey distilled in November of 2015 from a 70% rye, 18% corn, and 12% malted barley mash bill, charcoal mellowed and aged in Barrel House 1 beside Coy Hill. Bottled at between 130 and 148 proof, this limited edition expression launched nationwide in October in 700 ml bottles for approximately $80 a piece. Hardin's Creek Warehouse Series from James B. Beam Distilling Company unveils 3 limited edition 11-year-old bourbons: Warehouse W, the Mushroom, Warehouse W, the Beaver, and Warehouse G, the Owl, each aged in a different rickhouse with unique environmental traits, yet sharing the same mash bill, showcasing how warehouse location shapes flavor. Each one is bottled at 55% ABV and in 700 ml bottles for $150 each. The trio is now available in select markets. James B. Beam Distilling Company also unveiled the Knob Creek 21-year-old bourbon, the brand's oldest ever expression, a hand-selected 100 proof limited edition aged 21 years in Kentucky rickhouses for exceptional balance and depth. Presented in a keepsake box and available nationwide, starting at $250 per 750 milliliter bottle. In cigar news, Adventura Cigar launches a limited 2025 La Llorona Toro 6x54 ring gauge exclusively for elite accounts, blending a Habano Ecuadorian wrapper, Indonesian Dominican binder, and a Dominican Medio Tiempo filler for a balanced, complex smoke with refined depth. Featuring an upgraded band and premium presentation, boxes of 10 shipped to U.S. elite retailers starting October 27th at $17 per cigar before taxes. Cavalier Genevieve Cigars has opened pre-orders, closing November 7th, for the Green Jacket 2026, the 3rd annual limited edition release inspired by the Masters Golf Tournament and available only to select U.S. retailers and international partners. Each 11-count box contains 10 Green Jacket 2026 Churchills, 7x47s, with a Alapa wrapper, Connecticut binder, and Honduras, Nicaragua fillers, identical to the 2025 Muestra cigar, plus 1 preview cigar of the 2027 blend wearing a plain band. Production is handled in-house at Cavalier's Danlí Honduras factory, with shipping scheduled for late March 2026. La Aurora Cigars launches its limited edition holiday box, a festive 10-cigar sampler showcasing 5 signature Dominican blends: Original Blend Connecticut 1987, Preferido 1903 Cameroon, Family Creed Fuerte Sol 120th Anniversary, and ADN Dominicano, wrapped in vibrant packaging inspired by Dominican Christmas traditions, aguinaldos, family gatherings, merengue, and bacata. The collection celebrates the island's oldest cigar factory's craftsmanship and holiday spirit, arriving in early November as an ideal gift for aficionados and newcomers alike. Tatuaje Cigars expands its affordable Series P line, known since 2011 for Cuban sandwich construction with mixed medium and long fillers. With Series P Honduras, the brand's first cigars produced at the new My Father's Cigars factory in Honduras. Featuring a Garcia-grown Nicaraguan Habano wrapper over Honduran fillers, the approachable line launches in 4 sizes: Short Robusto, 4.5 by 52, Robusto, 5 by 50, Short Toro, 5.5 by 52, and Toro, 6 by 50. They're priced between $4.25 and $4.75 each, in a 20-count hinged box, mirroring the original simple style. Founder Pete Johnson hails the release at Milestone's Tatuajes partnership with Garcia family, with shipments now reaching U.S. retailers. A Short Toro will also join the Nicaraguan main Series P soon. Alex Bradley Cigars unveils its 2025 Fine and Rare ANB 228, a medium-bodied 7x50 Churchill blending 10 tobaccos from Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic, including a Honduran Trojes C98 wrapper, dual Honduran Nicaraguan binders, and fillers from Jamastran, Jalapa, and San Andreas and Criollo for lush notes of hazelnut, cinnamon, and dark chocolate. Handcrafted at Honduras Riaches Cuban factory and limited to 1,500 10-count boxes allocated only to brick-and-mortar retailers, the $19.99 per cigar release begins shipping on November 3rd. Mirapville Cigars unveils the Ernest Lanchero 7.5 by 40, the latest master blend honoring great-grandfather Ernest Mirapville's pioneering 1900s Sumatra tobacco trade, wrapped in the brand's revered genuine Cameroon leaf and filled with over 20-year aged tobaccos for a refined smoke of leather, dark chocolate, oriental spice, and a subtle minerality. Limited to 613 Polonia wood chests of 25 cigars at $73 each, the meticulously engineered Lanchero begins global shipping in the coming weeks. Davidoff's Year of the Horse 2026 continues the Zodiac series with a global launch on November 20th, 2025, offering 3 tiers sharing an Ecuadorian wrapper and binder plus 43-year aged Dominican hybrid seed fillers, a Toro Especial, a 6.5 by 55, $65, 17,510 count boxes, a flagship exclusive Torpedo, a 6.5 by 52, $89 each in 624 count boxes, and a Masterpiece Humidor, which is a 6 by 56 Grand Toro 20 humidors at $49,000 each, holding 88 cigars. Bit out of my price range. Cohiba reintroduces the ultra-exclusive C8 in 2025, a technically refined Churchill 7x50, blended with a 2018 Nicaraguan Jalapa wrapper. In 2021, Connecticut broadleaf binder and fillers from 2022 Brazilian Mata Fina, plus 2021-2022 Nicaraguan Esteli and Jalapa rolled by General Cigars Dominican's top 2 pairing teams for poised balance over power. Limited to select retailers in 16-count boxes at $4,000 apiece. The collector-grade release ships in November of 2025. And finally, Plasencia Cigars launches its 2025 Colección Robusto Winter Holiday Edition. The festive green and gold sampler, $99.90 suggested retail price, featuring 6 acclaimed Robustos in embossed snowflake textured packaging. Organic Reserva Original, Creamy Alma del Campo Tribu, Bold Alma del Fuego Candente, and award-winning Cosecha 151 La Musica. Refined Alma Fuerte Colorado Claro Robustos, and balanced Alma Fuerte Robustos 2. Shipping to select U.S. retailers starts on early November. In pipe and pipe tobacco news, a recent PCA article, Cigar Lounge or Tobacconist, The Difference Pipes Can Make, Georgetown Tobacco, a 1964 founded pipe shop turned cigar powerhouse during the 1990s cigar boom, urges retailers to add pipes and pipe tobaccos, citing limited brick and mortar availability despite strong online sales, with customers craving tactile experiences like feeling pipe grain and smelling blends. A survey shows 33% of cigar smokers are pipe curious. Drawn to bespoke relaxation akin to craft beer, pipe enthusiasts prove fiercely loyal, especially to unique house blends, but success demands knowledgeable staff, regulatory awareness, and diverse inventory, from affordable corn cobs to premium briars, plus essential accessories like cleaners and tampers. The Per Jensen Legacy Collection presents 4 distinctive Danish-American pipe tobacco blends. Inspired by the life, legacy, and personal smoking preferences of Per's father, Per George Jensen, a Danish Navy veteran, who left a lasting mark on the pipe community. Each blend is carefully crafted by Cornell and Deal under the guidance of Per G. Jensen. First one is Brothers in Arms. It is a rich, full-bodied blend of dark-fired Kentucky, Perique, Turkish, Burley, and Red Virginias, layered with decadent notes of cocoa and smoky spice. Harbor Dreams is a traditional, ready-rubbed blend of aged Burley and Virginia tobaccos, delivering a rich, full-bodied flavor with hints of creamy chocolate and roasted almonds. King's Watch is a Danish-style bright Virginia flake with natural toasted sweetness and bright, crisp citrus notes. Port Guardian is a Danish-style red Virginia flake, offering deep natural sweetness, complemented by notes of dark citrus and lively spice. You can find all of these blends at retailers nationwide. Now, in upcoming events. The Premium Spirits and Cigars Festival will be happening at the Luxury Events Atelier in Miami, Florida on November 8th from 6 to 10 p.m. In Deadwood, South Dakota, the Big Whiskey Tasting Event will be happening along Main Street on November 8th from 4 to 8 p.m. The Honor Pour, event honoring Veterans Day, is the official kickoff event for Staves of Honor. This event will happen November 8th from 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. at the Rack House in the Colony in Texas. Whiskey Advocates New York Whiskey Fest will happen on November 14th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the Marriott Marquis in New York City. And finally, on Saturday, November 15th, the Southern Kentucky Distillers Craft Festival will be happening in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and starts at 2 p.m. Check the Kentucky Bourbon Trail website for more information. And now we move on to our Pop the Cork in-depth interview of the week with Jay Roberts, the owner of the Whiskey Lab. I had the great pleasure to sit down with him in Houston prior to a wonderful Scotch whiskey event that the Houston Scotch Whiskey Society puts on every fall. We cover his background prior to entering the whiskey industry, as well as all things the Whiskey Lab. So please sit back, grab a dram, pour that glass, pick out a good stick, torch it up, grab your favorite pipe, pack the bowl with your favorite tobacco, and light away. Then listen to my interview. Please enjoy. All right, so we're here in Houston, Texas, and we're going to sit down and talk with Jay Roberts with the Whiskey Lab.
That's right.
And you have your own brand
I
called
do.
the Whispering Waters, or the Whispering Waters?
Whispering Waters.
Whispering Waters.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you don't mind, let's start off with just give us a background on you,
Sure.
And then a little history, and then how you got into the whiskey industry.
Yeah. It's a little background on me. I just updated my LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I put the first thing it says is Chaos Operator.
Ah.
What does that mean? I've always been the guy that you would look to when there's no expert, or that's where I position myself when they don't have an expert to do something, get something done. And I think that has to do with my history.
Okay.
So over the past 5 years, be it government work, consulting, contracting, or the startup world, I like when there's not an expert and it's got to be figured out.
Right.
I think that goes back to my roots, where I started off in construction management. I like problem solving. I like building things. I like working with teams. Went to school at a late age, but for physics. I was working on a PhD in physics.
PhD in physics.
Yeah.
Did you have your undergraduate and master's in physics also?
I do.
Oh,
now
fantastic.
I do.
Okay.
But I started college at 24.
Ah.
After working for a while.
Okay.
For the second time.
I have a similar story, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah. First time I was looking at computer science. I don't like sitting behind a desk coding.
Yes.
But I love the science, it was the hard science.
Okay.
And at 24, I went for physics
Yeah.
while working full time.
Okay.
But it got to the age where it was now or never with the military. And so back then, it was 27 when you could join the nuclear navy.
Yes.
And I got them to pay me to finish school. I was in grad school at that point. So I did a bachelor's and master's in about 4 years.
Okay. Dang.
But I was working towards a PhD.
Sure.
So I could double count classes if you took it at the grad level.
Yes. Yep.
And they said, you have 12 months to finish whatever you're doing. We'll pay you. And then you come and go to officer candidate school. I could get my master's done in that time.
Okay.
I would have had to not join the Navy to finish my PhD.
Yes.
And to serve my country, just as you have. Thank you, shipmate.
Yep. Same to you.
It meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And so I knew I had to do it. So I joined the nuclear Navy. I was a submariner. And in a similar fashion to what I started off with, just no expert. Submarine service is a little bit different than getting just true expertise. It's very structured, very regimented.
And it has to be.
It has to be.
It has to be.
But I struggled with that because I like the hard sciences, like problem solving.
I've seen the documentary on the pioneer for nuclear navy.
Rickover.
Rickover. Yes, who was a
He's legend.
And I mean, but it was literally stay between the lines. Do not. So yes.
So problem solving, figuring stuff out is part of it. Yeah. But you're really training so hard, and this is a lot of the military, where you train to repeat tasks almost instinctually, just like martial arts. Yep.
So it's almost muscle reflex.
It is, and you have to do that. So that was a hard part for me. So I didn't test well, but I performed well in operations. But getting to kind of the background, I didn't actually get my warfare device as a submarine officer. Okay. I got injured on a deployment. I got medevaced, and I say that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Sure.
It wasn't, and this injury wasn't a direct combat result. No. We were in a, let's just say, combat zone.
Sure.
But I was pushing myself too hard. I went 5 days without sleep.
Oh.
And I ended up being found having a seizure. But that led me to switching up into the intel role, where I like that idea. When there's not an expert for the job, people got to do it. And I love problem solving.
Oh, and every situation is different.
Literally
every situation is different.
I'm doing different kinds of investigations. I'm looking at different data. I'm helping different teams out. And I don't have like a technical position, but hey, this stuff needs to get done. So I got to do that for 3 years.
Right.
That was my last 3 years. I ended up getting medically retired. And then I took that and went into the consulting world in DC with some of the intel agencies. When I say consulting, you're contracting.
Sure.
Same thing.
Yep.
I was put on different teams where they're having trouble, they need to fix, and whether it's people management or technical management, you're just jumping in to try to problem solve, build teams, get stuff done.
Yeah.
And so that's where I found my skill set. I eventually went to get an MBA at Chicago Booth.
Okay.
And while there,
you were just there recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every year I try to go back and just take a class every summer.
Excellent.
Keep the connections there. While there, my goal was to start my own consulting firm.
Okay.
In gray area matters. There is no experts. So who do you call when there's no experts?
Right.
And there's this old group called the Jasons that used to be the go-to for, let's just say, the DoD and the Pentagon. Yep. I believe they've disbanded, but that was kind of my inspiration for what I'm very good at. And then I realized it's not realistic for me to start a consulting firm yet. So let me go into the startup world where it's so unstructured, it's chaos, and you got to build from the ground up, and I love it. And that's where I've thrived for the past 4 or 5 years, and what eventually led me to start the Whiskey Lab.
Okay.
So while I was at Booth going through this program, we had kind of an unofficial whiskey club.
Okay.
And it started off during COVID. We were online, so we were doing virtual tastings together. And I said, what if we pool our money and buy these bottles that you don't want to buy yourself for $1,000, but if you split it with a group of people, you could try it.
You can try it all.
So we tried high-end whiskey, high-end bourbon. And near the end of this program, I had a couple $100 left.
Yeah.
And I had just bought, I heard about this Bowmore, this rumor, a 30-year-old Bowmore. That's a $3,000 bottle. I got it for $500. But it was from this brand I'd never heard of.
Right.
This doesn't make sense. Uncharted whiskey.
Okay.
And I had $200 left in the same place I bought this up for this group. I had $200 left. Same place I bought this Uncharted bottle of whiskey for $500.
Right.
I saw a 30-year-old Gurvan. I'm like, I never heard of Gurvan.
Yeah.
So I bought it. So I have this Uncharted bottle. I have this Indie Bottler $200 bottle, 30 years old. I have Pappy Van Winkle 23 year. This is at our graduation event. And I have these big brand releases. And whoa, everyone kept going to the $200 bottle and the $500 bottle, like, and comparing to these super expensive bottles. So that's when I kind of learned about indie bottled whiskey. And we started doing some more events. I would pay to have it shipped over here. And what I found in America, you do not have indie bottled Scotch.
No.
In America, it's the American bourbon industry does NGPs, or ND, non-distilling producers. It's different than indie bottlers where they have a consistent release as an NDP, or indie bottlers out of Scotland. You can have consistent releases, but the primary objective is these special, unique, limited editions.
Like single casks.
Single casks, or
Yes.
a 1, 2, or 3 cask batting sometimes, but I focus on the single casks. So through this problem-solving chaos process, and going to booth, I bought a cask of whiskey. I was like, all right, I like this. I'll create my own brand, and I'm just going to import it.
Sure.
There's no one that does that. You can't just, or years ago, you couldn't have, okay, I want to have 300 bottles of Scotch of my own cask delivered to my door. You could, but it wasn't the legal way.
Right.
It was just shipped, and then you had the risk of it getting lost.
Yes.
And so the start of the Whiskey Lab was when I had a cask and I wanted to legit get it to my own door.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Yeah.
And I looked and I found this. And as going through that, I reached out to the owner on Uncharted, Jack Breslin.
Okay.
Because I was like, hey, man, I bought one of your first releases. It was a huge hit.
Yep.
I love your whiskey I've bought since then. How does it work for you?
Yeah.
And then long story short, the Whiskey Lab is an importer
Okay.
and distributor.
Got it.
And through some strategic partnerships in D.C., Washington, D.C., we can provide private client casks delivered to their door, or we can sell for you. But the Whiskey Lab is focused specifically on indie bottlers to create the pipeline to America that didn't exist or was very hard to do before that.
Right.
Very cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
And what the Whiskey Lab does is kind of congregate these small brands to provide this pipeline and platform to sell to retailers or consumers. So
Exactly. Because
that's a little background on what the Whiskey Lab is.
Because, and I've been to Scotland, and there's so many independent bottlers over there. I mean, the ones I remember, obviously you've got the Lock Fine, Compass Box, but they're here. They're here in the States. I'm just trying to think of some others, and I'm sure you can spout off a few too.
They're all over. That's the majority.
Yes,
that's the majority of what you see on the shelves in Scotland.
Yeah, it's in the whiskey shops. It's you have your
standards, but the special stuff, what people go to Scotland for, is these awesome things you don't find anywhere else.
Yes,
and at the best bars, you're constantly rotating, and it's almost all indie bottlers, or special releases from the big brands that don't come to America.
Right,
and that's what I'm looking at. That's what I focus on, the special stuff.
And you said you will talk with them, and like you said, for them it's prohibitive. Let's say they have 20 cases they want to sell in the United States.
Yeah.
For them to come over here alone, right?
It's incredibly difficult.
Right.
You can.
Yes.
They have what's called pay-to-play operators. There's 3 of them, but you have minimum monthly fees of, let's say, $1,000 minimum a month.
Okay.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
And then you're paying storage monthly, and then if you sell to a retailer, they get a cut.
Yeah.
And so it's very cost prohibitive unless you're a big player. There's some. Signatory, Gordon MacPhail, they have big pipelines. They do a lot. They do a lot. But for the small guys that are doing 5 to 10 releases a year, that it does well in Scotland and Europe, it doesn't make sense to come to America because it's too cost prohibitive until now, until the Whiskey Lab.
Exactly. And that's what you're doing.
That's what I'm doing.
You're congregating, I think you said.
Yeah.
A grouping of them together, and then
create economies of scale by bringing them together, providing that pipeline, vice a big brand that's doing 100,000 cases a year to America.
Yeah. So as far as Whiskey Lab, but you also have your own brand, Whispering Waters.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit.
Sure. When I bought that cask, it was a Gurvan cask.
Okay.
And Gurvan. I'll be corrected often on how I say things. But there was a little bit more to just why I bought that.
Sure.
My maternal grandfather is from Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I heard he was part of Clan MacGregor.
Okay.
Clan MacGregor is part owner of Gurvan Distillery.
Okay.
And so to have the opportunity to get a cask that I love, it was one of my first indie bottled Scotch, and then there's some familial history, not who knows the reality of it, but to me it meant something.
Absolutely.
So I saw a deal on this cask, and I wanted to create my own brand to put my label on it. And what I initially thought the Whiskey Lab of, and I still do, we're finding undiscovered gems and bringing them to America.
Right.
So looking at designs, we landed on glass that is an emerald cut gemstone.
Okay.
That's the glass design. And I I bought probably 30 different domains coming up with names. And eventually I said, that's not the priority.
No, right.
The Whiskey Lab wasn't the actual name that I wanted to come up with for
Sure.
the concept either. I was like, I'll just call it the Whiskey Lab. It'll be an experiment. And when I figure out the brand name, we'll do it. The Whiskey Lab stuck. Everyone
Yes.
loved it.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But eventually word got around and I got introduced to a guy who was in the cattle industry,
Okay.
but previously worked with Jim Beam.
Huh.
And he helped, and he brought Knob Creek to market.
Okay.
He brought Basil Hayden to market. He created them. And then Booker's used to be an internal product only.
Right.
And he brought that to market.
Okay.
And he also brought the Dalmar to the United States.
Oh, wow.
His name is Ralph. I would love to, but I'm going to respect his privacy.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
Yeah.
It turned out he was also a nuke, but Air Force. He was an Air Force missileer. So
Okay.
we had this kind of connection,
Sure.
being vets, being nukes.
Yeah.
He heard about what I was doing, and we talked, and he's a great writer, but he came up with a list of names, and he said, Whispering Waters. I was like, no, absolutely not. But I was saying no to everything back then. He's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. And I was like, okay, submarines are known as the silent service.
That's
Whispering Waters is kind of a nod to that. And I was like, I'm in. I like it. I like it.
No, because I know your background, and as soon as I heard and we talked, I was like, I wonder if that's anything to do with being a submariner. So
Yeah.
they just confirmed.
I would love to take credit. It was another nuke, Ralph. Thank you, Ralph, who came up with the name.
Yeah.
And then we worked with a designer, and I kind of told her the story.
Yeah.
I told her some folklore of Scotland. And on the label, Whispering Waters, it's mermaids, one facing in each direction. Well, the old Greek sirens, they were evil. I mean, Ariel the Little Mermaid, that's not a love story.
no.
Like, mermaids in history or in folklore are not great characters
Right.
outside of Scotland.
Right.
And then you had the Sieg and... but getting to the point, if you met a mermaid, or the concept of a mermaid, you could get wishes granted to you and you could become a king. So a sailor or soldier's way of becoming a king in folklore, Scottish history, was meet a mermaid, you can become rich and become a king.
Got it.
And so Whispering Waters, a nod to the silent service with
Yeah.
mermaids, it's what the kings drink. It's
Got it.
It's the best.
Yes.
And that's what I focus on. But part of the brand concept was being the bridge to the American consumer. So we have single grain, which the two releases we have, soon to be 3, are wheat-based.
Okay.
70% of Americans drink American whiskey.
Yes.
Are standoffish to Scotch, thinking it's Peter. Well, try this 27-year
Yes.
out. It's easy.
Yeah.
Now try some of our single malts. So it's a good way to bridge that barrier to the American drinker, trying some single grains and get into the higher end single malts.
Correct.
So
So the yours is 2 of the 3 are wheat or
Yeah.
wheated or grain whiskeys.
Yep.
Because most of the grain whiskeys in Scotland are wheat,
Yeah.
more so than corn.
Yep.
But they do use some corn.
They do. It's a small amount, and you got to think America is farmlands versus the United Kingdom's farmlands.
Yeah.
Wheat's grown everywhere,
No, exactly.
everywhere. Where corn is a heavy crop, predominant crop in America.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we produce probably over half the world's corn, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's cool. So we also talked a little bit about, so in the Whiskey Lab, that you do offer barrel sales. And
I
stuff,
do.
and or for investment and other things. But can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So the cask sales globally have been so focused on investment. I'm not about that.
Yes.
I think just like buying a bottle, some people buy bottles for investment purpose to put on their shelf. The Whiskey Lab only sells bottles for consuming.
Yes.
That's my focus, to bring amazing whiskey to people. And I think the same should be done with casks. You can buy a cask. I started looking at casks when I became a father. I wanted to buy a cask for my son, not when he turned 21, when he turned 30, and could respect whiskey.
Absolutely.
Here's a 30-year-old cask.
Exactly.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
But this whole concept is like you're investing for the future. It's something that will be consumed rather than trying to flip and make money.
Right.
And so you have investment firms in the UK and America that are so focused on selling casks for investment purposes.
Truly investment purposes.
That's it.
Which, prior to recent events, kind of worked
Yeah.
somewhat, but not.
What I think it did really was offset what the American whiskey industry is experiencing right now.
Yeah,
It
right.
put the cost of operations on the investor, saying you're going to get returns.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now, well, I don't really see returns after 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
and it's starting to liquidate. So we see a lot of bankruptcy
Okay.
going on now.
Got it.
If you're familiar with the whiskey lock of the 1980s
Yeah.
with Scotch,
Yes.
Scotch distillers, we're seeing that with American distillers, in my opinion, right now. But as far as Cask go, I'm trying to make the Whiskey Lab the pipeline for people who own private casks
Yes.
to bring it to America
Yes.
and get it delivered to their door. And so far, we've brought 2 casks entirely to client stores, literally delivered last week
Wow.
to an Aaron cask from
Yep.
the Aaron Distillery,
Yes.
Isle of Aaron. Some guys 10 years ago, some military guys,
Okay.
I'll keep this private,
Yep.
but they were active duty with a group. They bought casks, they've been sitting on it, and they've been waiting. And they reached out to me, hey, we'd like to get this to America. Can you help us? Yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
I went through the same thing because I owned a cask. Here's exactly how it works.
Yes.
This is the cost. So if you have a cask that
Yep.
you own, we can deliver it to your door.
Yep.
If you want to have half delivered to you and you want to be able to sell on a website, the Whiskey Lab can actually sell your whiskey for you
Imagine
too.
that.
And that's part
Yes,
of the service
exactly.
we offer.
Sure.
But also, I'm not going to lie to you. I'll tell you how much the cask costs, and I'm like, here's my profit on this for providing you this service. I am transparent on everything I do, and that's what I like about indie bottlers, the transparency. It's from this distillery, has this cask finish, it was distilled on this date, it transferred to this person, it was bottled on this date.
Yeah.
As transparent as you can. That's why I like the difference between NDPs in America and indie bottlers out of Scotland and America. There's indie bottlers here. So we provide that service as well. When I say we, the Whiskey Lab. The Whiskey Lab does.
You're the sole employee?
So
yes, at
as
the
of
moment.
now.
Yes, as of
and then
now. I understand.
Heavily supported by my wife.
I know all about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
She actually does a lot, helps me a lot.
Fantastic.
And she went to chef school as a hobby, she's got a nose. She'll tell me this is amazing.
Great palate.
Great palate.
Yeah, well, and a good. Yeah.
Good nose.
Yes.
She loves whiskey. She ordered a Lagavulin 16 on our first date.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, I like this girl. I like this girl.
So, I've been. It's said that women. I mean, you do see a lot more women, which is great. I think as master blenders.
Yeah, that's coming up
they
now.
have amazing noses.
They do, and
I think
there's a lot of biology behind.
I was going to say, I think that's a little bit of biology. I mean, not that. Yes, just I think that's a reality.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of biology to that. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a protection thing.
Yes, being able.
They had to be able to smell something. Oh, that's not good. I don't want people to eat that. Or you know
right,
what I mean?
right,
or
right.
whatever.
We have different instincts that go back. And what I think also plays into that is statistically, women like peated whiskey more than men.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Yeah. The majority of women that drink Scotch like peated whiskey. The majority of men that like Scotch do not like peated whiskey. And so it's just, and when I say statistics, personal statistics, I didn't do a study. It's from my interaction over the years in the industry.
Okay.
But I just found that really, really odd. I would think it'd be the opposite.
I would agree with you. I would have assumed that.
But the big picture is on actual data, 70% of consumers are men. So you got about 25 to 35% women whiskey consumers, but the majority of them like Scotch more than the majority of men.
Right.
So it's just interesting.
Interesting, because I can't get my wife to. She does not like whiskey in general.
Yeah.
Not even bourbon. So it is what it is. She's trying.
She's got to have some whispering waters.
I think you're right. I think you're right. So I think you brought it up a little bit before with, especially here in America. I on my last episode, I had an article from the Kentucky Distillers Association that said that right now there's 17.1 million barrels of whiskey, of bourbon in Kentucky alone. Now, I know they make up like 85 to 90% of all bourbon made in the United States, but if you look at a chart, I've actually seen a chart where it shows whiskey production and whiskey consumption.
There's
not a huge growth in consumption. It's still going up.
It's a steady growth.
It is, but
production doesn't match that.
I mean, almost a hockey stick kind of a thing.
And I think you got a lot of people who love whiskey, got into whiskey 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And then you get some people retiring, a lot of veterans, a lot of military, like, oh, I'd love to start my own distillery.
Yeah.
For the passion they have for it. But when you look at the economics and the actual industry from 15 years ago when you had less than 500 distilleries to today when you have 3,000 distilleries, their production capacity combined is still less than the 150 Scotland distilleries.
Okay.
And then Scotland's revenue generation is higher than America's revenue generation. So you have, it's spread so thin conceptually.
Yep.
So I think, I believe I said earlier, I was brought into the idea of starting a distillery. I didn't want to, but I said, okay, let's just go through the exercise. And then when I started looking at data and I went into the TTB databases and then I look at the forecasting and the sales over 10 years, I'm like, whoa, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So that's where I said the investment market has offset the collapse that we're starting to see of distilleries. We're seeing 5 to 10 distilleries close a week now.
Yeah.
But we'll probably see 500 to 1,000 over the next 5 years collapse.
You think that many?
Yeah. But it's just, you got to look at the economics behind it.
Yeah.
I've published a couple things on my blog, my journal. I can't say exactly, but you can look at data and you can derive some estimates.
Yeah.
And I think 80% of American distillers are operating on less than 30,000, maybe 40,000 in revenue and whiskey. You can't survive on a distillery with that kind of revenue.
Especially if you want to do, I mean, if you're trying to do bourbon, okay, now you've, like technically, yes, you could run it through a oak vessel, a charred oak vessel, and call it bourbon legally.
One day.
I wouldn't suggest it.
Yeah.
So they almost have to, I mean, either source.
A lot of places do that to start.
Or they have to produce gin, vodka.
Gin and vodka.
Rum, whatever it is to pay the bills.
And that's a hard thing.
And those are all saturated markets too.
Yeah. Any business that you start as a producer of something, the idea is you have to dominate your local market.
Right.
And then you expand from there. If you try to expand and go everywhere, you will collapse or fail. Yeah. But those who start off, dominate their local market, get a good foundation and slowly scale out, that's great. And some distillers have done that. Yeah. And they'll do that with their gins, which are usually, they're bringing in just this distillate that's pre-made. Vodka, it's got to be distilled to 90% alcohol, which is very hard for a small still to do.
Yes.
So you bring a lot of that in and brand it yourself.
Right.
But it takes time.
Yeah.
And your financial plans for a distillery should be 10 years out to be profitable.
Correct.
And you have to have funding to do that. Self-funding is hard. But that's what we're running into. So we have these, a lower production capacity overall, thousands of very small producing distilleries trying to go for revenue. If you look at the 150 distilleries in Scotland and the ones that come to America, the average Scotch brand, including the big ones, just split amongst the average number of brands here. They're doing over $1 million a year in revenue in America. Vice, less than 10% of that for a bourbon or an American whiskey producer. So it's not a good time to become a distiller in America.
No.
It is a good time if you like American whiskey because prices are going to start to drop.
Correct. Yes.
And there's so much volume and like you said, casks out there. In the 90s, you used to get the Blanton's. They'd be 8 to 12 years old.
Yes.
Now they're 4, maybe.
Right.
We're going to start to see older, better releases from the big brands. Maybe of the 90s and 80s, where it was very small. But I think the quality is going to improve for the big brands in America because the age is getting longer and they don't have to produce as much anymore. But unfortunately, the small guys take the hit.
But so that's, I agree. Truly, 100% with what you just said. And you would know more than I would, but I think that the NDPs in the States, and some independent bottlers here in the States, I think they're going to be okay because they're able to now, especially
It'll be easier for them.
Yeah. Because the prices of casks have almost, collapsed.
It's collapsing.
So they're going to be able to get their distillate just.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's great for them if they have customers and traction.
True.
The idea of independent bottlers in America, there's so many bourbon clubs and local clubs. I'm like, wait a minute, the casks used to be $10,000 and now they're $2,000? We'll take 5.
Yes.
Or you get a group of buddies and you put one cask in someone's garage and just pour from the tap.
Yeah.
How cool to have a cask in your garage.
Absolutely.
You can't do that with Scotch.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be very cool for the American consumer.
Yeah.
With the unfortunate circumstance that producers are in America from overproduction.
Yes.
It's just economics.
Yeah.
Supply and demand, basic supply and demand. We have an oversupply,
Yes.
which is going to collapse prices.
Exactly. Now, you just mentioned something that I want you to go into if you
Sure.
don't mind. So, because we were talking earlier, and I did not know this and learned, it is illegal to remove a cask of single malt from the shores of Scotland.
Yeah, it wasn't always this way.
Yeah.
So Japan used to import single malt and then bottle it themselves. They changed their law.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be Japanese whiskey. It's got to be produced in Japan.
Okay.
So the law in Scotland is single grain from the 6 producers, that can leave the shore before being bottled. A single malt cannot leave the shore until it's bottled out of Scotland. I don't even think it can go to England. It's got to stay in Scotland.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Someone comment on this if I'm wrong, but single malts can't leave the shore.
Okay.
So some American producers they'll bring in single grain Scotch and have special releases. You can do that as a consumer. You can bring over a single grain. That was my first cask that I bought, the Bourbon.
Yeah. And which you said there's amazing single grains coming out of Scotland.
Yeah.
That got some age on them.
It's a under-respected gem. I think that the Scotch consumer that likes indie bottlers and all the releases, they love single grains.
Sure.
You can have some amazing single grains, and you get some really old expressions.
Yeah.
I think we have a 35-year-old on the site for $160.
Yeah.
To say that about a single malt, you're looking over $1,000.
Yeah.
Or an American whiskey. I don't think I've ever seen an American whiskey that old.
Oh, no.
But it's totally different circumstances.
Yeah. I think the only other spirit that I know of that's even remotely close to being able for value for age like that would be Armagnac.
Armagnac, that's an amazing deal. Rum, you can get some very old rum.
Yeah.
Cognac, I love cognac.
Yeah.
But it's like tequila versus mezcal.
True.
Cognac is going to be way more expensive.
Yes.
It's the same concept.
Yes.
But Armagnac, you can get some amazing Armagnac that is old for a great price.
I literally know where I can go in a store right now, get a 35-year-old Armagnac for about $85.
That's amazing. Who can the concept behind
that? And it's good. I think that if you like bourbon, especially more so bourbon than Scotch, because I think Scotch is to cognac, bourbon is to Armagnac. To me, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
I
could see that.
It's Scotch is refined. It's very. It's just that's the way I would describe Scotch as refined, and I think cognac's the same way. Armagnac, it's made at some guy's winery in his farm from a traveling alembic still, that goes to the next farm 2 days later or whatever, So, and then they just store it in their barns for 35 years.
I think there's a comparison in what is used to produce the liquid, the distillate. Yeah. Where a single malt, like malted barley, that is the perfect grain for creating alcohol because you can get the full flavor or the full wheel of flavors on that.
Yeah.
And you don't have mash bills in Scotland.
No.
They use a wort versus a mash in America. But mash bills, why do you have a mash bill?
Well, it's one grain.
Corn has a very distinct flavor profile that can't be all-encompassing.
Yeah.
So you put some wheat with it, you put a little rye with it, and maybe some malt. And that way you complete kind of your flavor wheel.
Correct.
So you got to experiment.
Yeah.
Vice the concept of malted barley and the different strains of barley, just like there are different strains of corn. But
And then the different yeasts that you can use and stuff. But yes, it's simple.
It's different. It's different. And that's where I think the more refined aspect, the single malt, you have the full flavor capacity. And then it takes time for that flavor to develop. It takes longer time for a single malt to come to fruition than it does a grain.
Yes. And then you go into, okay, then what kind of barrels are you going to go into?
Yep.
Is it refill sherry? Is it a refill bourbon? Is it a first fill bourbon? I mean,
it all makes a difference.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
depending on who you ask, the cask is 50 to 60% of the flavor.
Right, and you've got some casks in Scotland are 80, 100 years old because they've been reused.
Yeah. This the first cask that I bought, talking with some people, a legend in the industry of Delilah's in Chicago. He tasted it, and he's like, yep, I know what this is. This was probably a cask that's been used 4 times. It was produced in the 60s. He goes down and breaks down everything. And I was like, well, I love it. I think it's great. But that's what you have with single grains. They're very old casks that then get finished sometimes. Vice to single malts, they're always good casks that you want to put them in.
Exactly. And that's, but those used casks, from what I understand, allow you to do much longer.
Yeah,
because it's not imparting as much oak, and it's
It
allows you to.
Bourbon's a good filter. Like the bourbons are younger,
yes.
They mature faster from the different mash bills, but also the different environment of America, like Kentucky versus Scotland
or Texas,
or Texas, and then the different warehouses, where an open earth warehouse maintains humidity and temperature year round, versus a ricket house where it's
swinging. Wildly swinging.
So
during the day,
exactly. Yes. So a bourbon barrel, virgin oak versus a used bourbon barrel, it's like the bourbon was a filter towards the tannins. So getting a first fill bourbon barrel and a single malt, you can age it for a long time, and the likelihood of over oaking the whiskey is almost gone.
Correct.
By virgin oak, after 3-4 years, it can really take away from a single malt.
Right. Because there are a few producers that I know of in Scotland, Tamdhu being one. It's an exclusive sherry.
Yep, they do.
But it's mostly virgin. They split it between European oak and American oak. But they buy the wood, ship it to Spain, have the barrels made.
Get it soaked.
What do they call that? That's seasoning, sherry seasoning. And then they, dump it, bring it to Scotland.
Yeah,
and that's all Tamdhu's using anyway. But that's also why it's pretty much a sherry bomb too.
Yeah, definitely up and coming. Tamdhu's a great distillate. I love Tamdhu.
Yeah, but then you've got others that are. I've learned this from a few different ambassadors that I've met from Scotland. That color is important, but not really, because you can get some super light colored scotches. There's amazing taste.
Yeah.
Amazing taste.
Color
Lots of it too.
Can be a good indicator of what cask it came from.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's an indicator of quality. Right. And the same aspect of age.
Yeah.
I've had amazing 3-year-old scotch, which is rare.
Yeah.
And I've had horrible 50-year-old scotch, which is also rare.
But your 50-year-old could also be this super light colored.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. That's also what I was trying to get to, is that age in a barrel doesn't. If it's a second fill, bourbon or whatever, might not impart a lot of color.
Exactly.
But it's still giving it other things.
Yeah. Time has a big impact, more so than just the freshness of the oak.
Right.
But it's if we step back and look at this conversation, there's not one single thing that creates everything is the determining factor.
Totally.
It can be young and light and be amazing. It can be old and light. It could be young and dark, and it could be $10,000 a bottle or $100 a bottle. But in the glass, if you're enjoying it, that's what matters.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why I like it's almost always high quality, non-chill filtered.
Yeah.
Cask strength as much as possible, and not color added. So you're getting the full natural aspect of indie bottlers. That's what I like about them a lot.
Do you see that from? I know that's the way you're doing it, right?
Yeah,
you're doing it non-chill filtered, cask strength if possible.
Yep. Whispering Waters will always be cask strength. Okay. Some brands, unfortunately, when you're having labels printed, you have to put something on or handwrite it. And
Right.
so the Whiskey Lab, with its brand Whiskey and Water, shift to handwritten labels.
Okay.
So the day it's bottled, it's
Yes.
this is what it is. But for brands that are printing labels, well, unless you've taken it out of the cask and put it into a container where it's not going to age anymore and it's set, you measure it and then order the labels.
Yeah, and it could change between then.
It definitely could. What I found is moving from the Highlands down to Edinburgh to bottle it, it can change a percentage or two.
Sure.
And if what you have printed is off by more than 0.5%, you can't label it.
Oh, so okay.
So if they measure it at, let's say, 55%, they may get labels printed at 52.5,
Yeah.
and whatever it comes to, they'll add water to get it to 52.5.
Got it.
And so some of the indie brands say
Just
true,
to hedge their bet, basically.
to be safe.
Yeah,
They'll say
right.
true cask strength because it's this now. I know I got a month
Yeah.
or two to bottle it.
Yep.
It could change. Let me lower it 1%, maybe 1.5,
Yeah.
to be accurate.
Okay.
So a lot of brands do that just because they're printing labels.
Do you see, other than the major brands who are going to, a lot of them still at, 80 proof or 40 ABV
Yeah.
or 46, I guess, because that's roughly that's the point where you don't have to chill filter,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
46%.
Yep. Around there.
It seems to me that there's more and more who are going with slightly higher proof on their bottlings. I mean, and I guess it's maybe more that just their limited editions are such.
It's almost always the limited editions are going to have higher proof. Why? Well, you can't take water out of whiskey. You can always add water to it.
Right.
And high proof doesn't always mean quality,
Right.
but it means you're not diluting what the potential quality could be. So it's better, like the person who's willing to get that special release.
Yeah.
They want the option to be able to add water if they want to.
Where they want it to, maybe, versus what the...
And the idea is it's limited, make it special.
Yes.
Vice producing 100,000 bottles, standardize this label, standardize this ABV. We're trying to extend the volume to produce. Vice create this unique special thing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but higher proof, I think it's always the best way.
Oh, yeah.
Or cask strength if you can.
I would tend to agree. I mean, to a certain limit.
Yeah. Well, there's these the guys that do hazmat.
Oh.
I've had some good hazmat, but it's like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hazmat being above 70%.
Correct.
Like you have to get
or for us
special-
Americans, 140 proof.
special transport permits.
Exactly. It's literally
insane.
it's a hazardous material. So if you don't mind, go ahead and tell me what are some of the things that you do have available right now?
So we just brought on our 5th brand onto the website, and it's pretty cool. But we're covering.
It's one that I was actually looking at, going, I want to get one of those bottles. So now I can just come to you.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's pretty cool, and there are a couple young guys that started this, Glass Chew Spirits. And what I really liked about them is when I was in Scotland in May with my wife for a delayed honeymoon, this guy messaged me, asked if he could meet for coffee. I said, sure. And he brought with him one of his bottles and had a submarine on it. So he did his research. But the label is pretty cool. Each label they have is like Art Deco.
Yep.
It's something unique to the story behind the distillery. Yes. So we got 4 of those, 4 releases, a 10-year Glenallachie, a 10-year Tomatin, a 10-year, that's the Strathdearn, and then a 10-year peated Tobermory, which is what Americans say is Ledaig.
Ledaig, but it's
got to be called Pealac. Pealac. Pealach.
Yeah.
You can't say Ledaig.
Right.
That was part of the DO. The rules. They couldn't use that on the label.
Right. So real quick, can you go into that super quick?
Yeah.
And then
so
explain
every
why,
distillery has their own
yes,
rules.
Yes.
And a good example is that Tobermory, their peated release is not called Tobermory, it's called Ledaig. And then if you're an indie
or if you're in Scotland, it's Leitchik.
But if you're an indie
I was
bottler,
schooled on that. So yes, exactly.
The indie bottler aspect, you can't use that name. So they said you can use Pealac. I don't think I'm saying that right. And same thing with Tomatin. An indie bottler has to say Strathdearn. And so you're not the distillery producer. That's the rules they say. And like Bonabon's super heavily peated, they call it Stayosha, I believe. You can't use that as an indie bottler as far as I know.
Okay.
Highland Park doesn't let you say Highland Park. If you have a cask, usually it'll say Highland Distillery or Orkney Island. Arran Distillery, which I believe they've renamed, you can't say Arran Distillery. It can say distilled in the Isle of Arran. So there's rules on the cask that you buy. Macallan. You can't say Macallan, but if you had a cask that came before the 90s, which are very old, you can say Macallan on it. So sometimes,
but it's all based on for lack of a better word, bill of sale.
Yeah, the bill of sale, the delivery order, what's on record with the warehouse. That is what is allowed. Here's what you can say, and it's what it'll say is a cask of X, and that's what you can use.
Right. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so let's continue on. So what else? So you've got the Glass
Chew Spirits. We got 4 releases from them.
Excellent.
And then we have 5 releases in stock for Whispering Waters, and then we have as a pre-sale 50-year-old and Vergorda. It's almost sold out. We only have, I think, 16 bottles left out of 120.
Wow.
And
50-year-old.
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 Yeah, $450 for a 50-year-old Scotch. Single cask strength.
Yes.
And so we have 6 releases on the website. 5 aren't in stock. Then we have Uncharted Whiskey Company. The guy that got me in, not directly, from when I bought the Rumors 2, which was 30-year-old Bowmore. I believe we have 8 releases from him.
Okay.
Tree Cara was my 4th brand that I brought over. Brought him last December. We have 8 or 9 releases from them. And then Fergan Harris, which is the brand from the bottling company Young Spirits in Scotland. The majority of that is sold out. It's a more expensive brand, but their stuff is all of it's great.
Yeah.
But we had a 14-year Bonabon, which is sold out. We have one bottle left, which I'm holding for an individual.
Right.
But it's sold out. And then they have a really cool experiment. I think they were the experimenters. A couple years ago, they won an award for using a virgin oak finish. But we have this Craig Alecky, 15-year-old Amontillado sherry butt. They split into 2 casks and finished in a white port and virgin oak. Virgin oak for 1 month, white port for 3 months. And you taste them, and they're like, these are different.
Yeah.
And they're amazing.
Yeah.
High proof, 63 and 64%. So we have 34 single cask releases on the website now.
That's fantastic.
And next month we have another 5 releases coming over, 4 from Uncharted.
Wow.
Two Highland Parks that you can't call Highland Park, a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old.
But you can't call it that.
You can't call it
Can't call it that, but that's okay. Yeah. So,
and the cool thing with the Uncharted Whiskey Company, every release they do is named after a rock and roll song.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So their Highland Park
is Uncharted.
Park Life is what they call their Highland Park. Park Life 1 and 2.
Got it.
One of the most I brought over was from a sherry butt. It's a 7-year-old Arkrosk, if I'm saying that right. But it's a sherry bomb. It's called Thunderstruck.
Oh,
so they do some really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. And
AC/DC going on there. Yeah.
And Tree Cara, almost every one of the releases has won an award.
Yes.
We had a 10-year-old Dollery Maple, which is a pseudonym that indie bottlers use to say we don't know the distillery.
Okay.
I thought it was a distillery when I bought it, but it's not. So it says Lowland Distillery, in parentheses, Dollery Maple. And it was a first full sherry cask finish, and it just won Grand Gold, Best Whiskey from CMB last week, 2 weeks ago.
Really?
I had 7 bottles left that sold out the same day as the award came out. It was announced in Forbes, and it sold out immediately. So they got a really cool stuff. Yeah. Really, really cool stuff. I think their Blair Ethel 12-year finished in a first fill tawny port, super tawny port, 50-year-old cask. That is just, it's too low cost.
Sure.
I think it's amazing for a 12-year Blair Ethel. It's like $100.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's a deal.
Yeah. So
I would agree.
Those are the brands I'm working with now. I'm looking at bringing over a couple more.
Okay.
The goal before the government shutdown was 10 brands with the Whiskey Lab by Christmas time.
And you're where now?
We're at 6 confirmed, 5 on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I was going to say, you are being affected. By the government shutdown.
Tariffs affected me.
I
tremendously.
think the whole whiskey industry was kind of this whole early spring, and even now, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of settled a little bit, right?
Somewhat. Shipping was a nightmare, especially after August 29th. Shipping got really weird. So you can't just buy from a store in Scotland and have it shipped to America anymore.
Right.
They'll still do it,
Yeah.
but the likelihood of actually arriving is slim to none because you can't, the $800 no tariff or no tax on it coming back to America, that's gone. You have to pay tax on everything you bring back to America. So you can't, technically it's illegal to ship from Scotland.
Okay.
And so, well, I think that's good for the Whiskey Lab. It's bad for the consumer.
Sure.
Now you can't really buy indie brands from Scotland anymore.
Right.
So I'm hoping to bring more brands and get it up on the website
Sure.
and get it to more retailers.
But I think I think you're hitting it at the right time.
I think it's a great time for the Whiskey Lab because the whiskey consumers of America, the idea behind NDPs, how popular they got, and then people looking to explore Scotch. Indie bottlers offer an amazing value for the price, and it's all limited edition. So that $1,000 bottle from a big brand at 45%, it might be $400 at cask strength in a single cask from an indie bottler.
Do you see more indie bottlers contact? I mean, let me phrase that. Do you think you'll hear from more independent bottlers in the future moving, because
I get
it's going to be easier for them, especially if they do want to sell some and or more United States.
What I found is there's a lot of private clients, people who own casks that want to bring it over. That's now that there's a pipeline that's getting known about, I'm getting a lot of outreach.
Absolutely, yes.
I can deliver to your door.
Yep.
So that's growing. I get reached out to from brands all the time. Hey, I have this stock. Would you be interested? Would you be interested? So to them, it's just a sale. They're selling to an importer, which would be the Whiskey Lab.
Yep.
I have to be pretty selective. I will only work with the small teams where I can hold individuals accountable, just as I expect a consumer to hold me accountable.
Yeah.
So accountability is big. Respect is huge in the indie bottler industry. If you got a bad name or if you screw someone over, everyone knows about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's so small. It's definitely what I really like about it is it's a handshake agreement on a lot of things in Scotland. In America, you have to have contracts, but you have to have implicit trust for the brands that you're working with. And I have that with the brands that I'm working with.
Right.
And the majority that I've met, the same way. Yeah. Some I've said no to just because of the stories I've heard.
Sure.
But that's so rare because Scotland is just like I think indie bottled Scotch. It's pure. It's all natural. It's good. I think you have a lot of that in the Scottish, let's just say, club of distillers and whiskey producers.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good people. All good people. The thing is, for me, I'm one guy right now. Yeah. Capacity is the thing, and then what do I have the volume to bring in and get to consumers?
Correct.
It's continuously growing.
Yes.
As I grow the brand of the Whiskey Lab, but
then you get the word out.
It's all marketing. I'm very much a behind the scene operations guy. With this, I have to be upfront. I have to sell. Yeah. And that's not my forte.
Go on people's YouTube channels. And
I like talking about it. I love talking about the operations. But sales is key. Sales is king in any industry, and that's something that has been a learning curve for me.
So, the first interview I did was with Robert Lickbush with Iron Republic in Denison, and we were talking very, very similar to the way we are now, just very conversational. And I asked him what the hardest part was, or what challenges there were being a distiller.
Yeah.
And he's like, sales. Sales and distribution. I love making whiskey. My brother and I, I'm the business. He's the distiller, but we're co-owners. He said, and we love that. We love making whiskey. The challenge was just, he said, it's one thing you don't think about when you go, I want to start a distillery.
And that's what separates success from failure. It's your ability to sell in the most difficult market in the world, the most controlled market, America, for whiskey. Every state has its own rules. Mm-hmm. And so
you have 50 different, you have the federal.
Yep, you have federal laws.
They're not onerous, are they?
No, it's a process of getting labels approved, which can be onerous. every release has to have a label approval.
Right.
And that takes time.
Yes.
And then majority of states
Yes.
that I'm working with require label approval as well.
Yeah.
I have to submit and pay to get that label approved.
Yep.
So
now you have 50, potentially, 50 more TTBs, state TTBs for whatever each state calls them.
Yep.
That you have to deal with if you wanted to go to 50 states.
That's why you start
and
locally.
If you want to go to if you want to go to all our territories, now you got Puerto Rico, you've got
definitely different.
And then if you want to sell to the government, if you want to get it into the exchanges or
I'm working on it. Being veteran owned makes it a bit easier.
It does.
Makes it a bit easier.
And actually, we can talk about. I've got somebody you might want to talk to after that.
Cool.
Who's dealt with them before.
Got it.
So
got it.
Sam.gov. Yeah. Right. Exactly. He's military also, so he's dealt with dealing with the exchange and AFEs and.
And if going back to that regulation aspect, if you think about it, for an indie brand to come to America themselves, well, I have a single cask, more than half of it sold, let's say in Europe. Mm-hmm. Now I have, let's say, 15 cases left that I want to bring to America. I have to import it.
Yeah.
If I want to register in, let's say, the 5 most prominent states, it costs over $100 to do that. So I'm paying to import, I'm paying to store, mm-hmm. I'm paying someone to sell it, and then I'm paying just to register it in different states for sale.
Yeah.
And it takes time.
Yes.
Like New York, if you're not registered in New York today, you're not selling until next year.
Right.
Because we're past the date to get done for December.
Right.
So there's a lot of constraints that come to the American market as an indie bottler of Scotch, outside of a group that's bringing you with other brands like the Whiskey Lab does.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, I agree. I think you're hitting it at the right time.
I'm trying.
Truly. Tell us how we can get a hold of you. And everything, because again, you do. If there are people out there who have casks and do want to bring them over, you can help them.
That's
beyond that, but by all means, give all your information for us.
My phones are amazing. If you go to thewhiskylab.com and you go type into the chat, it's going to my phone and I'm going to respond to you. So you can message me on the website. You shoot me an email, j@thewhiskylab.com. I respond to that same day.
Very good.
And then it posts my phone number. It goes straight to my phone for the business line. It goes to my phone too. So it's pretty easy to get a hold of me. And I think not just the private individuals, but I've had some. I'm losing the word for retail. Who sells houses?
Oh, realtors.
Realtors.
Yes.
Well, when I bought my house, I was given a McCown as a gift.
Yeah. Right.
Law firms or the financial world, they do a lot of gifting internally or to clients.
Yeah.
And it's been a thing with bourbon. It's been much harder to do with Scotch because they want to taste it or they don't know what to do for labeling and get it all approved. I'm starting to do that for some clients now. So I've been talking with one realtor company where they're looking at getting, here's a single cask.
Yeah.
You buy a house, here's your gift with this. Here's some wine.
It's a branded Scotch or whatever from that real estate.
You can't buy this. It's a specific gift to you that is unique and you can't get it anywhere else. So just the cool aspect of authenticity and uniqueness as a gift giving.
Yes.
And then on top of that, what if you want a cask, but you don't want 300 bottles?
Mm-hmm.
Get a group of friends.
Yes.
Well, I'll take 20, I'll take 50. And
that's what I was saying. Whiskey groups.
Yeah. So
great
groups,
way to do it. Yes.
I just brought in this, like I said, the cask from Aaron Distillery. They'll split between 12 people.
Yeah.
And so there's that. If you got a group of friends, great. If you don't and you want help, you're like, hey, I'd love to get a cask of this. Do you have anyone else? Well, yeah, I have a list of people who are looking. I want this kind of whiskey. I just don't want to get the whole thing myself. Maybe I can split it with a group.
Yeah.
So it's all about bringing people together. And that's part of like kind of the About the Whiskey Lab. The whiskey I have is not for taking shots, or we have is not for taking shots.
No.
It's for enjoying, and it's always a conversation starter. It brings people together.
Well,
and we
Scotch
can do that
in general isn't for shots, if you ask me. That's my opinion. It's not really. It's meant to be appreciated and enjoyed.
Yeah.
Although a good highball is You know.
You can, yeah. I enjoy that. Scotch and soda every now and then.
Yeah.
Scotch and soda.
But neat is usually my way to go.
Start there and add water. It's amazing what a single drop of water can do to a good cask strength whiskey.
It is.
It can open it up, especially the old single malts. It can really do a lot to open it up.
Yeah.
And some brands like Tree Kara, they say, here's the tasting notes, add a little bit of water, and here's how it changes.
Oh, okay. The changes to this.
Yeah.
That's sort of good. Cool. They even do that for you. That's very neat.
They do. But your question was, how do you get a hold of me? The website, it's got all my contact.
You have some socials too, yeah?
It goes straight to my phone. Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram. Okay. I respond to all there too.
Yeah. Good deal.
Yeah, man.
Jay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And check him out. Go to his socials and go buy some Scotch from him, please. And if you want a barrel,
I'll help you out.
Yeah, go buy a barrel. Awesome. All right. Thanks.
Cheers.
Good deal.
It's fun, man.
I want to thank Jay Roberts for taking his time and sitting down with me for a wonderful interview, and to inform you that next week we will be speaking with Philip West, the owner of Bearded Wheat Distillery in Hillsboro, Texas. We will discuss his background and how he and his wife got started, and all things Bearded Wheat Distillery. So please stay tuned for that. Now here is what I like to call, what is Chris putting in his mouth? The dram of the week is from Starlight Distillery. It is a single barrel Indiana straight wheat whiskey. And it is a club pick from Drink Fine Whiskey, which is the local DFW whiskey group. And this thing is truly amazing. They did a wonderful pick. And most things that I have tried from Starlight have just been crazy, crazy good. As you can tell, how much is left of this bottle. Thankfully, have a backup. But wheat whiskey, smooth. I'd put this up there with Weller 107. It's just a really, really good whiskey. I think if you can find a single barrel of their wheat whiskey, you can't go wrong. So, very, very good stuff. As far as what I'm smoking, the stick of the week, it is this one's wrapped up, but I have smoked a few of these. So it's a J.C. Newman Diamond Crown Classic Natural. It's a 5.5 by 54. 5.5 by 54. Double Robusto. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful smoke. It's so easy. It's a nice quick smoke. And I'm finding that I like that more and more. If you have time for a nice long Churchill. That's what I was trying to think of. Brain fart there. Sorry. Anyway, this is a great cigar. It's about $12, $13 a stick, if I remember correctly. But and they're available most places that you can find cigars, quality, tobacconists. And then I did have some time to smoke my pipe also. And the two blends that I did smoke was a small batch Cornell and Deal, which is San Sepulcro. This is which edition is this? I'm going to look that up. Sorry, I should know that. This is I think this is the 2023 edition. Anyway, it's fantastic. It's a pretty stout vapor. It will catch you off guard if you're not ready for it. Pretty stout blend. It'll give you a pretty good nick hit. There's one time, I think the first time I tried it, I didn't have anything to eat before I did, and yeah, Chris had to sit there for a little bit and try to swallow down what might be coming up. But no, but it wasn't the taste rate. It was just I wasn't ready for the nick hit. So, but this is a really, really, really good blend. I have a bunch of this stored back in my cellar also. And the other one I was trying this week was a Peterson Irish Cask. I think you can see that, Irish Cask. So this is as they call it, blended from heavy-bodied Cavendish to tobacco. Was made by Smooth by adding a mixture of Zimbabwean orange, smoking grades, and aromatic Thailand burley. It is mellowed using Black Perique from Louisiana Bayou, leave it stored for many years. But it's an aromatic. I would say it's actually really got great room note, and this is something that I could even smoke around my wife. And yeah, just very, very, I enjoyed it thoroughly. So those are the two I was smoking in my pipe. So, if you can find it, both of them, well, this one is a small batch, so you might not be able to find the San Sepolcro, but the Irish Cask, readily available online and in most stores would have access to that. So, okay. Now, as always, I want to thank you for joining me on my crazy journey to learn all I can and report to you about these three amazing industries. I hope that you were able to learn something new from this episode, but more importantly, I hope that you were entertained and will continue to listen and watch the program moving forward. Please remember to subscribe, ring the bell, like the video, and leave comments. And also, if you can, give the channel a review. It's always good, always helps. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Please let me know if you have any ideas that you'd like to hear about in any upcoming episodes, and I'll see what I can come up with. I will see you next week on the Whiskey and Smoke News Network. And remember, please drink and smoke responsibly. Have a great night.